I held a challenge coin from my unit in one hand and a foreclosure notice in the other. 3 days after coming home from Kandahar, I learned my wife had been at war with our family the whole time I was gone. The driveway looked the same. Same cracks in the concrete I'd meant to fix before deployment. Same basketball hoop Emma and I installed together when she was 5. 18 months changes a man. Hardens some parts, softens others, but coming home is supposed to feel like exhaling after holding your breath underwater. I stepped out of Marcus's truck. He'd picked me up from the airport, wouldn't let me take a cab. Brothers don't let brothers Uber home from war, he'd said, grinning that same grin from our first deployment together. The front door opened before I reached it. "Nathan!" Melissa ran down the steps, arms wide. Her perfume hit me first. Different than I remembered. Something expensive. Her hair was shorter, highlighted, new clothes. Everything looked maintained, polished. She wrapped her arms around me, and I felt her body tense for just a half second before she committed to the embrace. "I missed you so much," she said against my chest. I held her, scanning the yard over her shoulder. Professional landscaping. We'd never paid for professional landscaping. The flower beds were pristine, mulched in a way that cost money. My mind cataloged it automatically. Deployment brain doesn't shut off just because you're stateside. "Where's Emma?" "Inside. She's been so excited. She's been up since 5 this morning." I pulled back, looked at Melissa's face. She was smiling, but her eyes kept darting to Marcus in the truck. Nervous? Guilty? I pushed the thought down. 18 months of suspicious minds overseas. Every local a potential threat. You can't bring that home with you. Marcus honked, waved, pulled away. Melissa's shoulders dropped slightly. Emma appeared in the doorway, small and 7, and holding something clutched to her chest. My heart cracked open. She'd grown. Kids grow in 18 months. Everybody knows that. But knowing it and seeing it are different things. "Hey, sweetheart." She didn't run to me. That stopped me cold. Before I left, Emma was a runner, a jumper, a hug tackler. Now she stood there, one hand gripping the door frame, the other holding a toy soldier, the one I'd given her before I left. Green plastic, painted details worn smooth. "You kept him safe," I said, kneeling down. Emma nodded. She took 3 careful steps toward me, stopped just out of arm's reach. Her eyes went to Melissa, then back to me. "It's okay, baby," Melissa said, voice too bright. "Daddy's home now." Emma moved closer. I opened my arms and she leaned in, but it wasn't the same. She felt fragile, careful, like she was afraid something might break. I pulled the challenge coin from my pocket. "You remember this?" Her eyes lit up, first real spark I'd seen. "The coin from your unit." "That's right, my brothers gave me this. You know what it means?" Emma shook her head. "It means we don't leave each other behind. We're a team. We protect each other." She reached out, touched the coin with one finger. The toy soldier stayed clutched in her other hand. "Can I see him?" I asked, gesturing to the soldier. Emma's grip tightened. She looked at Melissa again, that same quick checking glance. Then back to me. "You gave him to me before you left. I kept him safe the whole time." "I can see that." "You did a good job, Em." Melissa laughed too loud. She barely let that thing out of her sight, slept with it every night. I tried to get her to put it on her shelf, but I didn't want anyone else to touch it, Emma said quietly. Not even Mommy. The words hung there. Melissa's smile flickered. "Well," I said, standing, "that's what soldiers do. We keep our promises safe." Inside, the house felt wrong. Not dramatically, no furniture missing, no obvious damage, but wrong the way a song sounds wrong when someone's singing slightly off-key. New throw pillows, new coffee table. The TV was bigger. I'd been gone 18 months and the house had upgraded without me. "We should celebrate," Melissa said, heading to the kitchen. "I'll order from that Italian place you love." "Since when do we order Italian?" We'd always been a cook-at-home family, budget family. Oh, I started treating myself sometimes while you were gone. It gets lonely. Emma was watching me from the stairs, toy soldier against her chest like a shield. Emma, honey, why don't you go play upstairs while Daddy and I catch up? Emma didn't move. Melissa said, sharper now, upstairs. It's fine, I said. She can stay. Melissa's jaw tightened. She has homework. It's Saturday. Art project due Monday. Go on, baby. Emma climbed the stairs backward, watching us, watching me, like she was afraid if she turned around, I'd disappear. When her door clicked shut, Melissa's smile returned. She's just been emotional lately, kid stuff. She seems scared. Scared? Of what? You tell me. Melissa's face did something complicated. Nathan, you've been gone a long time. Kids change. She's not 5 anymore. She's more reserved now. Reserved. Emma. My daughter who used to narrate her entire life out loud, who made up songs about breakfast cereal. Maybe you should shower, Melissa said. You must be exhausted. I'll get the food ordered. I grabbed my duffel, headed upstairs, past Emma's room. Her door was open a crack. She was sitting on her bed, toy soldier on her pillow, whispering to it. The bathroom had new towels, expensive ones. Melissa had always been a clearance rack shopper, took pride in it, actually, said we were saving for Emma's college fund. I turned on the shower, let the water run, sat on the edge of the tub. Something was wrong. 18 months of trusting your gut to keep you alive. You don't ignore it just because you're home. Downstairs, I heard Melissa on the phone, ordering food. Then another voice, laughing. She was laughing in a way I hadn't heard in years. Young, light. The laugh stopped abruptly. When I came back down, she was setting the table. Food will be here in 30 minutes. Who were you talking to? Oh, just my mom. She wants to see you tomorrow. Her phone was face down on the counter, screen dark. The mail sat in a pile on the entry table. I'd walked past it coming in without really seeing it. Now I sorted through while Melissa busied herself with napkins and plates, bills, junk, catalogs for furniture we'd never buy. Then a large envelope, bank logo, official weight to it. What's this? Melissa glanced over, went very still. What's what? I opened it. The words swam for a second, military-tired brain trying to parse civilian language. Notice of foreclosure. Proceeding. Nathan, we're in foreclosure? My voice came out level, controlled, the same voice I used calling in enemy positions. That's a mistake. I was going to handle it before you got home. The bank just... This is dated 3 days ago, Melissa. 3 days after I landed. It's just a paperwork thing. They sent the wrong form. I'm disputing it. It's totally... There's no dispute address. This is a final notice. Mandatory meeting. I scanned the document. Numbers jumped out. What the hell is a refinance for $285,000? Melissa's face had gone pale. I can explain. The house was paid off. My grandfather left us that house paid off. There was no mortgage. I know, but when? Nathan, when was this refinanced? She reached for the paper. I pulled it back. February 14th, she said finally. February 14th, Valentine's Day. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to my deployment calendar, the calendar I'd kept religiously, marking off days until I could come home. I was clearing insurgent compounds in Kandahar on February 14th. I needed the money. For what? For what, Melissa? What costs $285,000? Things got expensive, Nathan. You were gone, and I had to handle everything, and... Who's Derek? Her face went white. Actual white, like I'd hit her. What? Emma mentioned an Uncle Derek. When did we get an Uncle Derek? He's just a friend, helped out sometimes when I needed a friend. You were gone for 18 months. Do you have any idea how hard that was? How lonely? So you refinanced our house, our daughter's house? Emma's door opened upstairs. We both froze. Small footsteps on the landing. Daddy? Her voice was tiny, scared. I looked up. She was standing at the top of the stairs. Toy soldier in one hand, something else in the other. A piece of paper. No, multiple pieces of paper. Emma, go to bed, Melissa said. Emma didn't move. She was looking at me, only at me. What do you have there, sweetheart? Drawings, she whispered, from school. Can I see them? Emma, it's late. Can I see them, Em? She came down 3 steps, stopped, looked at Melissa, then back at me. Some kind of decision happened behind her 7-year-old eyes. She came down the rest of the stairs and handed me the papers. Thank you, baby. Why don't you head back to bed? Daddy will come say goodnight in a minute. Emma ran upstairs. Her door clicked shut, locked. I looked at the first drawing. Construction paper, crayons, a family, stick figure mom, stick figure girl, stick figure man. The man had a beard. He was big, bigger than the little girl. There was a date in the corner, Emma's unsteady handwriting, numbers I'd taught her before I left. The date was 3 months into my deployment. I looked at the second drawing, same bearded man. This one showed the inside of a house, our table, the bearded man sitting where I sat, where I'd always sat. The third drawing made my hands shake, our bedroom, 2 figures on the bed, the bearded man on my side, the date on this one, 5 months into my deployment. Nathan, I held up my hand, not trusting my voice. Those are just... Emma has an imagination. She draws all kinds of... She dates them. My voice came out quiet, dangerous. Emma puts dates on her drawings. Her teacher taught her that. I remember because she was so proud of it. She told me in a video call. Remember? September. She learned to write dates. Melissa's mouth opened, closed. Who is Derek? A contractor. He did some work on the house. What work? The deck, some plumbing. We don't have a deck. Silence. I looked at the drawing again. The bearded man on my side of the bed. Dated 3 months into my deployment. The month I was medevaced for shrapnel wounds. The month Melissa had cried on our video call, said she was so scared, said she couldn't wait for me to come home safe. The month she was sleeping with Derek. I need to check something, I said. I went to the front door, the Ring camera we'd installed before I left. Basic security, cheap, but it worked. I pulled out my phone, opened the app. Melissa had deleted it from her phone. I could see that in the family settings, but she'd forgotten I was the primary account holder. She'd forgotten the footage backed up to the cloud. I scrolled back. February, January, December, November, a truck I didn't recognize. Pulling into our driveway, 11 p.m., leaving at 6 a.m. I recognized the brand, the color, the contractor sticker on the back window. I kept scrolling. October, same truck. September, same truck. I counted. 47 visits during my deployment. 47 times Derek's truck had been in my driveway while I was in combat. I found the February 14th footage. The day she refinanced our house. The day she signed my name to loan documents while I was 7,000 miles away. Derek's truck was there, 9 a.m. to noon, then again at 7 p.m. Didn't leave until the next morning. I looked up. Melissa was crying, actual tears running down her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Nathan, I'm so sorry. It just happened. I was so lonely." "Get out!" "What?" "Get out of this house now." "Nathan, please, we can talk about this." "You refinanced our daughter's home to do what exactly? Buy him things? Pay his bills? What did you spend $285,000 on, Melissa?" She was sobbing now. He was in trouble. He needed... "I don't care. Get out. This is my house too." "Actually," I said, voice dead calm, military calm, the calm that comes right before you pull the trigger. "According to this foreclosure notice, this house belongs to the bank now. But I'm betting my signature on those refinance documents is going to tell a very different story. I pulled up the last video, the one I'd been avoiding, the one timestamped the day after I'd been hit, the day I'd written Melissa a letter from the field hospital, the day I'd told her I loved her, couldn't wait to hold her, was counting the days until I could come home to my family. Derek's truck pulling into the driveway, staying until 6 a.m. Visit number 47 was the day after I was medevaced for shrapnel wounds. She knew I was hurt, and she let him in anyway. I looked at my wife, this stranger wearing my wife's face. Emma whispered something I couldn't quite hear from upstairs, words muffled through the door, but I caught two of them. Uncle Derek. And then, softer, terrified. Daddy, Uncle Derek said you might not come back. Melissa left that night, threw clothes in a bag, mascara running, still trying to explain. I stood in the doorway with my arms crossed while she packed, silent. Every word she said just made it worse. Where will I go? I don't care. Nathan, please, if you'd just listen. Emma's asleep. Keep your voice down. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Good. She grabbed her bag, walked to the door, turned back. This isn't over. Yeah, I said, it is. Her car pulled out of the driveway. I watched the taillights disappear, then locked the door, double-checked it, checked Emma's window lock. Old habits, secure the perimeter. Emma's door was still locked from the inside. I knocked softly. Em, it's just me, Daddy. Silence. Then the lock clicked. She opened the door an inch, eyes red from crying. Is Mommy gone? Yeah, sweetheart, she's gone. Is she coming back? I knelt down. I don't know, but you're safe, I promise. Nobody's gonna hurt you. She threw her arms around my neck then, finally, the hug I'd been waiting 18 months for. She smelled like kid shampoo and fear and something else. Secrets. A 7-year-old shouldn't smell like secrets. I'm sorry, she whispered. You have nothing to be sorry for. I didn't tell you about Uncle Derek. I was scared. That's not your fault, Em. None of this is your fault. You understand me? She nodded against my shoulder. I'm going to fix this, I said, but I need you to be brave a little longer. Can you do that? Another nod. I tucked her in, toy soldier on the pillow next to her. She grabbed my hand before I could leave. You won't leave again, right? Like you left for the war. The question gutted me. I left for the war to keep you safe. I'm home now and I'm not going anywhere. That's a promise. Promises can break. Not this one. I sat with her until she fell asleep. It took 40 minutes. When her breathing finally evened out, I went downstairs and started planning. Monday morning, I was at the bank when it opened. Same bank my grandfather had used for 50 years. Same bank that had held our mortgage-free title until 7 months ago. The receptionist recognized me. Nathan Pierce, we heard you were back. Thank you for your service. I need to see someone about this. I slid the foreclosure notice across her desk. Her smile faded. Oh, let me get Patricia. She handles these cases. Patricia Turner was maybe 60, gray hair in a professional cut, kind eyes that had seen too many of these meetings. She shook my hand firmly when she came out. Mr. Pierce, please come to my office. Her office had pictures of soldiers on the wall, a flag, a photo of a younger man in uniform. Your son? I asked. My husband. He served in Desert Storm. Past tense. The photo had a black ribbon in the corner. I'm sorry. Thank you. She sat down, pulled up my account on her computer. Her face tightened. Mr. Pierce, I want to be straight with you. This is a complicated situation. How complicated? She turned the screen toward me. Numbers, dates, signatures. The refinance was approved on February 14th of this year. The application shows your signature, your wife's signature, and this is unusual. A cosigner. A what? A Derek Sullivan. The loan was structured as a joint liability agreement. Both you and Mr. Sullivan are listed as responsible parties for the debt. My vision tunneled. I was in Afghanistan on February 14th. Patricia's fingers flew over the keyboard. I see that now. Your deployment orders are in our system from when you set up the military pay routing. Mr. Pierce, if you weren't present to sign these documents... I wasn't. Then we have a serious problem. She pulled up another screen. The funds were dispersed same day. All $285,000 wired to an account in Derek Sullivan's name. The room felt cold. All of it? Every penny. Not to Melissa's account? No, direct to Mr. Sullivan. Standard fraud pattern, actually. I've seen it before, unfortunately. Not usually involving service members, but... She trailed off, looking at the screen like it had personally offended her. Mr. Pierce, did your wife have power of attorney while you were deployed? Limited. Medical decisions for Emma, that's it. Did she have access to your personal documents, birth certificate, social security card? They're in our safe at home. She had the combination. Patricia sat back. Then she had everything she needed to forge your signature. The question is whether Mr. Sullivan was complicit or if your wife acted alone. Does it matter? For criminal charges, yes. For getting your house back, also yes. She pulled out a form. I'm going to start a fraud investigation immediately. I'll need you to file a police report. Bring copies of your deployment orders, any documentation showing you were out of the country on the signing date. The bank will freeze the foreclosure proceedings pending investigation. How long does that take? Honestly, it could take months, but Mr. Pierce... She leaned forward. My husband came home from war to find his first wife had cleaned out their savings. I know what this feels like. I'm going to do everything I can to expedite this. I nodded. Didn't trust my voice. She slid one more paper across the desk. These are the original refinanced documents. Look at the signature. I looked, my name in handwriting that almost matched mine. Almost. The N was wrong. The slope of the P was off. Someone had practiced, but not enough. That's not my signature. Patricia pulled out her phone, took a photo of the document. I believe you. Now we prove it. That night, after Emma was asleep, I went through the boxes in the garage. Found what I was looking for in the third one. Every letter I'd sent home during deployment. I'd written to Melissa twice a week, sometimes more. Short letters. We weren't supposed to say much about operations, but honest ones. Love letters from a war zone. I spread them out on the kitchen table. Chronological order, February through September. Each one dated, each one stamped with military postal service marks. Irrefutable proof of where I was, when. February 10th. Melissa, the cold here gets into your bones. I sleep in my jacket. I dream about our bed, about you, about Emma's laugh. Counting days. February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, beautiful. I know it's not the same without me there, but I'm carrying you both with me. Everything I do to get home to you. The Ring camera footage from February 14th. Derek's truck, 9 a.m. to noon. Then 7 p.m. through the next morning. The same day she refinanced our house. The same day she signed my name to documents while I was 7,000 miles away, probably thinking about her while clearing buildings. March 3rd. I can't wait to hold you again. 97 days left. I'm counting every single one. Ring camera, March the 3rd. Derek's truck arrives at dusk, leaves at 6 a.m. March 15th. Emma drew me a picture of our family. I keep it in my pocket during patrols. Knowing you two are waiting keeps me alive. The Ring camera shows Derek's truck was there when I wrote that. Was there while I was folding my daughter's drawing into my uniform pocket, while I was using the thought of my wife to get through another day of trying not to die. I kept reading, kept cross-referencing. Every loving word I'd written, every promise to come home, every I miss you, and the camera showed Derek's truck in my driveway. Visit after visit after visit, 47 total. If you've ever reread old messages and seen a completely different story, you know this feeling. You know what it's like to see your own words turn into something pathetic. something foolish. I was writing love letters to a woman who was sleeping with another man in my bed. The deployment letters sat in a neat stack. Evidence, timestamps that couldn't be argued with. Proof that while I was loving her from a war zone, she was building a whole different life. I took photos of every letter, every date, every postal stamp. Then I locked them in the safe. The same safe Melissa had opened to steal my identity. The next morning, I started digging into Derek Sullivan. Took me 3 hours on the internet to find his life story. Not hard when someone leaves a trail of debt and ex-wives. Facebook led me to his ex-wife, Sarah. Her profile was public, photos of 2 kids, a new husband, a life rebuilt, and one post from 14 months ago. To anyone dating Derek Sullivan in the Riverside area, run. This man is a con artist and a gambling addict. He will take everything you have. I sent her a message. She called me an hour later. "You're the soldier," she said. "No hello." "The one whose wife he's with now." "Was with. She's gone." "Good. Listen, I'm sorry this happened to you, but I tried to warn her. I sent her messages, comments on her Facebook. She blocked me." "What did he do to you?" Sarah laughed, bitter. "What didn't he do? Told me his mother needed cancer surgery, needed $50,000. I took out a loan. There is no sick mother, by the way. His mother lives in Florida and hasn't spoken to him in 10 years. Where'd the money go? Casinos, sports betting, poker games. Derek's got a problem. Had it when I married him, still has it. By the time I figured it out, he'd run up credit cards in my name, taken out loans, forged my signature on car titles. I filed for bankruptcy. It took me 3 years to dig out of what he did." "How much total?" $140,000, give or take. And you know what the kicker is? He was so sorry, so apologetic, swore he'd get help. I believed him. Then I found betting slips in his truck. Horses, football, basketball, anything with odds. He was doubling down, trying to win back what he'd lost. My hand tightened on the phone. "The money my wife gave him, $285,000, you think it went to gambling debts?" "I'd bet my life on it. No pun intended. Derek doesn't invest, doesn't save. Every dollar goes to the next sure thing, the next big win. You know how many sure things he's had? 0. He loses. That's what he does. He finds women who trust him, bleeds them dry, and loses it all at the tables. Do you know who he owes? When I left him, he was into some serious people. Not bank loans, real collectors. The kind who break kneecaps. Do you have names? You thinking about turning him in? I'm thinking about getting my house back. Sarah was quiet for a second. Then, I have a file. Kept it after the divorce. Names, phone numbers, debt collection letters. Most of it's probably old, but maybe it helps. I can scan it, send it to you. I'd appreciate that. Mr. Pierce, Nathan, your wife knew. I tried to tell her. I sent her Derek's bankruptcy filing, the court records, everything. She didn't care. She picked him anyway. My jaw clenched. Yeah, I'm getting that picture. There's one more thing you should know. Derek's contractor's license is suspended. Has been for 8 months. He's not legally allowed to work, so whatever he told your wife about fixing houses, doing repairs, that was a lie too. After we hung up, I sat there staring at my phone. No contractor license, no sick mother, no legitimate reason for Melissa to give him $285,000 except that she wanted to, that she chose him over me, over Emma, over everything. The email from Sarah came through 20 minutes later, a PDF, 43 pages. Gambling receipts from casinos in Vegas, Atlantic City, Riverside, sports betting slips, threatening letters from collection agencies, and at the bottom, 3 letters from private loan sharks, the kind that don't use legal letterhead, the kind that use phrases like final warning and serious consequences. The debts totaled $340,000. Derek was $100,000 short even with Melissa's money. I forwarded everything to Patricia at the bank. Then I called the Riverside Police Department and asked about filing fraud charges. That weekend, I needed to talk to Emma, really talk to her. Not father comforting daughter talk, but witness statement talk. I hated it. Hated that I had to do this. But Emma had seen things, knew things, and if I was going to protect her, I needed to know what we were dealing with. Saturday afternoon, I made hot chocolate, Emma's favorite. We sat at the kitchen table, and I pulled out a blank notebook. Em, I need to ask you some questions about Uncle Derek. You're not in trouble. You did nothing wrong, but I need to know what happened while I was gone. Can you help me with that? She nodded, hands wrapped around her mug. How did you meet Derek? Mommy said he was a friend from work. What kind of work? I don't know. She just said he was helping with the house. Did he ever fix anything? Like, did you see him repair stuff? Emma thought about it, shook her head. He mostly just talked to Mommy. Sometimes they'd go in her room and close the door. She said they were discussing grown-up stuff. My chest tightened. How often did Derek come over? A lot. After school sometimes, at night. Mommy said not to tell anyone because people wouldn't understand. Understand what? That Derek was just a friend. Did he ever stay the night? Emma's face crumpled. She nodded. Where did he sleep? In Mommy's room. Her voice got small. In your bed. I wanted to put my fist through the table. Instead, I reached across and took Emma's hand. You didn't do anything wrong, sweetheart. You understand that? None of this is your fault. I drew the pictures so I could remember, so when you came home, I could tell you the truth. That broke something in me. This little girl, carrying this enormous secret for months, documenting it like a witness because she knew something was wrong and wanted to protect me. You're very brave, I said, the bravest person I know. Braver than soldiers? Braver than soldiers. She smiled, small but real. Did Derek ever talk to you, like have conversations? Sometimes he asked about you once. What did he ask? If I missed you, I said yes. He said maybe you wouldn't come back, that sometimes soldiers don't come back. My blood went cold. He said that to you? Emma nodded. Mommy got mad at him. They fought about it. Derek said he was just being realistic. Mommy said it wasn't realistic, it was mean. But then later they were okay again. When was this? I don't know. A long time ago. I was still in first grade. First grade ended in June. That was 9 months into my deployment. Did Derek ever tell you not to tell me about him? Yeah. He said if I told, you might leave again. That you'd be angry and go back to the war. He said sometimes dads leave when they find out about stuff like this. Her voice broke. You won't leave me, will you, Daddy, because I told? I came around the table, pulled her into my lap, 7 years old and carrying adult fears, manipulated by a grown man into staying silent. Emma, look at me. She looked up, eyes swimming. I left for the war because that was my job. I left to protect you. I didn't want to leave, but I had to. You understand? She nodded. But I'm home now, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving you, not ever. Derek was lying to you because he's a bad person who didn't want me to know the truth. But you telling me? That's the bravest thing you could have done. I was scared. I know, baby. But you don't have to be scared anymore. Daddy's home. And I'm going to fix this. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Promise. Promise. We don't leave, remember? That's what the challenge coin means. We protect each other, you and me. We're a team. She pulled back, looked at me seriously. Can I really keep the toy soldier forever? Forever and ever. That's yours. I gave it to you to keep you safe while I was gone, and you did. You kept it safe, and you kept yourself safe, and you kept the truth safe until you could tell me. That makes you a real soldier, Em. Girls can be soldiers. Girls can be anything they want. Emma hugged me again, tighter this time, and I held my daughter and made silent promises. Promises about what I was going to do to Derek Sullivan and to Melissa. Promises about justice. Because Emma had been carrying this weight for months. A 7-year-old shouldn't have to carry this, but she wouldn't have to carry it much longer. Sunday afternoon, Marcus showed up at my door. Marcus Webb. 3 deployments together. Saved my life in Ramadi, stood up at my wedding, Emma's godfather, the kind of friend who doesn't need an invitation. He had a 6-pack and a serious expression. Heard you kicked Melissa out. News travels fast. Small veteran community. Sarah Sullivan called her cousin. Her cousin called my sister. My sister called me. So, he held up the beer. We talking or drinking? Both. We sat on the back porch while Emma played in the yard. Marcus listened while I told him everything. The refinance, the affair, Derek's gambling, the forged signatures, all of it. When I finished, he was quiet for a long minute. Then he set his beer down and pulled something from his pocket. A challenge coin. Same as mine. Same unit. He set it on the patio table next to my bottle. You remember what Sergeant Hayes told us before our first deployment? Which part? The part about leaving people behind. I nodded. We don't leave our brothers behind. Not in combat. Not ever. Right. And you know what else he said? He said the real war isn't overseas. The real war is coming home and rebuilding when everything's gone to hell. That's where brothers really count. Marcus, shut up and listen. You didn't leave me behind when I got hit in Ramadi. You carried me 300 meters under fire. You remember that? Of course. Then you remember what I said in the field hospital. I said when we get home, we're even. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, I'm there. That wasn't just painkillers talking. I meant it. He gestured to his coin. This means something. We don't leave our brothers behind. Not in country, not in combat, not when their wives screw them over and steal their houses. I don't need charity. It's not charity, it's backup. You got a legal fight coming, fraud charges, divorce, custody battle. You need support. I got connections. Lawyers who do veteran pro bono work. A buddy who's a forensic accountant. Another guy who's a private investigator, retired cop. We can build a case that'll bury Melissa and Derek so deep they'll need GPS to find sunlight. I looked at him. Why? Because you're my brother. Because that little girl, he nodded toward Emma, deserves better than what her mother did. And because I'm guessing you've been carrying this alone for 3 days. And alone is how guys like us eat our guns. The words hit hard. True words usually do. I'm not there yet, I said. Good. Then let's make sure you never get there. Here's what we do. We document everything. Every piece of evidence, every witness, every transaction. We build an airtight case. Then we hand it to the DA and watch them scramble. You make it sound easy. It's not easy. It's work, but it's doable. And brother... He picked up his challenge coin, held it up to the light. You taught me something in Ramadi. You taught me that we don't leave our people behind, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So now I'm returning the favor. He set the coin down next to mine. 2 coins, 2 brothers. I'll make some calls tomorrow, he said. Get you connected with legal aid. They handle military fraud cases. I'll also reach out to the PI. Derek's got a trail. Men like him always do. We find the trail, we find the evidence. I already found some. His ex-wife sent me his debt records. Marcus grinned. See? You're already thinking like a hunter. Good. Keep that energy, because when this goes to court, you're going to need it. Emma ran over, saw the 2 coins on the table. Uncle Marcus has one too? That's right, kiddo. Your dad and I are brothers. We protect each other. Like Daddy protects me? Exactly like that. Emma picked up Marcus's coin, examined it. Can I have one? Marcus looked at me. I nodded. Tell you what, Marcus said, when you're older, when you've earned it, I'll make sure you get one. But for now, you've got something better. You've got your dad and me and a whole bunch of uncles you haven't met yet who are going to make sure you and your dad are okay. Really? Really? Because that's what family does. Not the family you're born into, the family you choose. Emma handed the coin back. Marcus ruffled her hair. When she ran off to play again, I looked at him. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when we've got your house back and Derek's in a cell. Until then, we work. He pulled out his phone, started texting. I'm looping in James, he's the lawyer, Kelly, forensic accountant, and Mike, the PI. They'll want to meet with you this week. Bring everything. Bank statements, camera footage, letters, Emma's drawings, all of it. We're going to build a case so tight even Melissa's lawyer will tell her to plead out. She's going to fight. Let her. She forged a service member's signature while he was in a combat zone. That's federal. She's going to lose, Nathan. The question is how much she loses. That's up to her. I watched Emma on the swing set. Happy, safe, for now. What about Emma? I asked. Custody? Full custody, no question. Melissa endangered her daughter's financial security to bail out a gambling addict. No judge is giving her custody. You'll get full. Melissa might get supervised visitation if she's lucky. She's still her mother. She stopped being her mother when she picked Derek over her kid's future. Emma knows that. You see the way she looks at you versus the way she looked at Melissa. That kid knows who her parent is. He was right. Emma had barely looked at Melissa that first night, had locked her door, had clutched her toy soldier like a lifeline. I keep thinking, I said quietly, about all the letters I sent, all the times I told Melissa I loved her. I was in a war zone, thinking about my wife at home, and she was being a selfish piece of work, Marcus finished. Yeah, that's going to hurt for a while, maybe a long while. But you know what? You get to choose what you do with that hurt. You can let it eat you, or you can turn it into fuel. Use it. Let it power you through the court case, the divorce, the rebuilding. And when it's done, when you've won, then you can let it go. That simple? Hell no, but it's the play. Only play you got. We sat there, 2 coins on the table between us, watching Emma play. Brothers don't leave. That's what the coin meant. That's what we'd learned in fire and blood and sand. And I was learning it again. Here, home, the family you choose. Monday night, Melissa called. We need to talk. No, we don't. Nathan, please, I made a mistake. I know I did, but we can work through this. You forged my signature on loan documents while I was in combat. You refinanced our daughter's home to give money to your boyfriend. That's not a mistake. That's a crime. Her voice went sharp. It's not that simple. It really is. Derek was in trouble. Real trouble. The kind of trouble that gets people hurt. He needed that money. For his gambling debts. Silence, then. How did you... I talked to Sarah, his ex-wife, the one you blocked on Facebook. She told me everything. The casinos, the loan sharks, the pattern. Derek's a con artist, Melissa, and you fell for it. He was going to get help. He promised he'd go to therapy, pay off the debts, start over with my money, with Emma's security. It wasn't like that. Then, what was it like? Explain it to me. Explain how you looked at our daughter and decided her future was worth less than your boyfriend's poker habit. Don't you dare. I've got the receipts, Melissa. Sarah sent me everything, $340,000 in gambling debt. You gave him $285,000. He's still $100,000 short. What's he going to do now? Ask you for more? Oh, wait, you don't have more because you refinanced everything we owned. She was crying. I could hear it in her breathing. I loved him. 3 words, simple, devastating. You loved him? I repeated. More than me? More than Emma? It's not about more or less. Answer the question. Nathan, you were gone for 18 months. Do you have any idea how hard that was? How lonely? So you've said. You were lonely. Got it. And loneliness gives you the right to destroy your family. Is that the math? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You wanted what you wanted and you took it. You didn't care about the cost. You didn't care that Emma was watching. You didn't care that I was in a war zone thinking about you, trying to stay alive so I could come home to my family. None of that mattered because you were lonely. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Derek told Emma I might not come back from the war. He told our 7-year-old daughter that sometimes soldiers die, and then he made her keep secrets. He scared her into silence. And you let him. Melissa's crying turned to sobs. I didn't know he said that. Yes, you did. Emma said you fought about it. You knew, and you stayed with him anyway. Nathan, please. I'm filing for divorce. Full custody of Emma. You'll get supervised visitation at best. I'm also pressing fraud charges, federal charges, because you forged a service member's signature. Patricia at the bank is cooperating. The police have already opened a case file. You and Derek are going to jail, Melissa. The only question is for how long? You can't do this. Watch me. I hung up. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage, from the sheer audacity of her trying to make me the bad guy, of her trying to excuse what she'd done with loneliness, like loneliness was a free pass to commit fraud and betray your family. The phone rang again. Melissa, I blocked her number. Then I went upstairs, checked on Emma. She was asleep, toy soldier on her pillow. I pulled the blanket up to her chin, kissed her forehead. We don't leave, I whispered. Not ever. Tomorrow I'd meet with Marcus's lawyer friend. We'd file paperwork. Start the formal process of taking my life back. But tonight I sat in Emma's room and watched her sleep and let myself feel it. All of it. The betrayal, the rage, the grief for the marriage I thought I had, the fear of what came next. I let myself feel it because tomorrow I'd start fighting. And I don't lose fights. The mandatory foreclosure mediation was scheduled for 2 weeks out. 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks to build a case so airtight even Derek's arrogance couldn't squeeze through. Marcus's lawyer friend, James Keller, was a former JAG officer. Silver hair, steel eyes, the kind of man who made opposing counsel nervous just by walking into a room. He met me at a veterans center on Tuesday. Tell me everything, he said. I did. Showed him everything. The deployment letters, the Ring camera footage, the refinanced documents with the forged signature, Sarah's file on Derek's gambling debts, Emma's drawings, Patricia's preliminary fraud assessment from the bank. James went through it methodically, making notes. When he got to Emma's drawings, he stopped. How old is your daughter? 7. She documented this on her own? She wanted to remember, so she could tell me the truth when I got home. James set the drawings down carefully. Mr. Pierce, I've been practicing law for 26 years. I've seen a lot of custody cases, a lot of fraud cases. He gestured to the evidence spread across the table. This is going to hit like a freight train. Your wife and Mr. Sullivan won't know what happened until they're already buried. What are we looking at? Legally? For Melissa, fraud, forgery, identity theft. Because you're a service member and she did this during your deployment, we can invoke the Service Members Civil Relief Act. That adds federal weight. She's looking at felony charges, minimum 2 years if convicted, possibly 5. For Derek, conspiracy to commit fraud, potentially accessory to identity theft if we can prove he knew about the forgery, plus whatever he's got outstanding with his gambling debts. What about Emma? Full custody, no question. Judge sees these drawings, sees the timeline, sees what Melissa did. She'll be lucky to get supervised visits once a month. The court doesn't look kindly on parents who endanger their children's financial security for extramarital affairs. When do we file? A divorce petition goes in tomorrow, custody motion attached. I'll coordinate with the DA's office on the criminal charges. Patricia's fraud investigation gives us leverage there. The foreclosure mediation in 2 weeks, that's where we spring the trap. Trap? James smiled. Predatory. Melissa and Derek think this is a negotiation. They think they can work out a payment plan, maybe refinance again, Push the problem down the road. They don't know we've already contacted the DA. They don't know the bank is cooperating. They're going to walk into that meeting expecting to haggle over numbers. Instead, they're going to walk into evidence of federal crimes. Will they both be there? If Derek's smart, he won't show. But from what you've told me, Derek's not smart. He's arrogant. Men like him don't think they'll get caught. He'll show. James was right. The day of the mediation, I dressed in my Class A uniform. Not required, not even expected. But I wanted Derek and Melissa to see exactly who they'd betrayed. Marcus drove me to the bank. He was in his uniform too, Solidarity. You ready? He asked in the parking lot. I looked at the bank building, same building where my grandfather had opened his first account in 1962, same building where I'd gotten my first savings account at age 8, same building Melissa had walked into 7 months ago to destroy everything. Yeah, I said, I'm ready. Remember, stay calm. Let the evidence do the talking. James has this choreographed. You just need to be present and truthful. I can do that. Marcus clapped my shoulder. I know you can. And brother, I'm proud of you. What you're doing here, protecting Emma, standing up for what's right, this is the real fight. This is what matters. We walked in together. Patricia met us at the door. Conference room B, mediator's name is Richard Chen, former prosecutor, very by the book. James is already here, and she paused. Your wife and Mr. Sullivan just arrived. My jaw tightened. Together? Together, they seem confident. Good, I said. Confidence makes people sloppy. Conference room B was corporate neutral. Long table, glass walls, stack of paperwork at each seat. James sat at one end, briefcase open, organized files in front of him. The mediator, Richard Chen, sat at the head. Mid-50s, reading glasses, expression giving nothing away. And across the table, Melissa and Derek. Melissa looked tired, thinner. Her confidence from that first night was gone, replaced by something brittle. She wore a business suit I'd never seen before. Expensive. Probably bought with my money. Derek was exactly what I expected. Mid-40s, beard like in Emma's drawings, contractor build, wearing a polo shirt with a company logo. The company Sarah had told me went bankrupt 2 years ago. He had his arm on the back of Melissa's chair, possessive, arrogant. When I walked in wearing my uniform, something flickered across his face. Not quite fear, not yet, but recognition that maybe he'd miscalculated. Melissa's eyes went wide. Nathan, Mr. Pierce, Richard said, standing, thank you for coming. Please have a seat. I sat directly across from Derek, stared at him until he looked away. Let's begin, Richard said. We're here to discuss the foreclosure proceedings on the property at 1847 Maple Street. The bank has requested this mediation in hopes of reaching a resolution before proceeding to formal foreclosure. Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, Mr. Sullivan, my understanding is that the property was refinanced in February of this year for $285,000, and payments have not been made for the past 3 months. Is that correct? There's been some confusion, Derek started. I'm not asking you, Mr. Sullivan. I'm asking the primary borrowers. Mrs. Pierce? Melissa nodded. Yes, but we can explain. We'll get to explanations. First, let's establish facts. Mr. Pierce, Richard looked at me. Were you aware of this refinance when it occurred? No. Were you present when the documents were signed? No, I was deployed, Afghanistan, February 1st through May 30th. Richard made a note. And you're listed as a co-borrower on these documents. Apparently, though I never signed them. Derek shifted in his chair. Melissa's face went pale. Mr. Pierce, Richard said carefully, are you suggesting these documents were signed without your knowledge or consent? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm stating facts. I was in Kandahar on February 14th. The signature on those documents isn't mine. That's... Derek started. Richard held up a hand. Mr. Sullivan, you're not a party to this proceeding. Unless you have legal standing here, I'd ask you to remain silent. He's my fiancé. He's listed as a recipient of the loan funds, James interrupted, speaking for the first time, which makes him potentially complicit in fraud. Mr. Chen, if I may? Richard nodded. James opened his briefcase, pulled out the first file. Deployment orders for Nathan Pierce, dated January 28, 2024. Deploying to Kandahar province, Afghanistan. Return date, May 30th, 2024. He slid the documents across the table. These are certified copies from the Department of Defense. Note the dates. Richard examined them, made more notes. James pulled out the second file. Refinance documents from First National Bank, dated February 14th, 2024. Note the signature purporting to be Nathan Pierce's. He placed them next to the deployment orders. And here, third file, are letters written by Nathan Pierce from Afghanistan, postmarked February through May, each one time-stamped by Military Postal Service, each one proving Mr. Pierce was overseas during the entire period in question. Melissa was staring at the table. Derek was staring at me. Furthermore, James continued, we have video evidence from the Pierce residence showing Mr. Sullivan's vehicle at the property on 47 separate occasions during Mr. Pierce's deployment, including February 14th, the day the refinance was executed. He pulled out screenshots from the Ring camera, Derek's truck, time-stamped, dated, undeniable. We also have testimony from Mr. Sullivan's ex-wife, Sarah Sullivan, detailing a pattern of financial fraud and gambling addiction spanning 5 years. Mr. Sullivan currently has approximately $340,000 in outstanding gambling debts to various casinos and private lenders. Derek's face went white. How did you... Public records, Mr. Sullivan. Your bankruptcy filing, collection agency lawsuits, it's all a matter of public record. James smiled, shark-like. The $285,000 from this refinance went directly into your account. All of it. Same day. It didn't go to home repairs, didn't go to medical expenses, it went to you. And from your account, it went to casinos in Vegas and Atlantic City. We have the transaction records. This is... Melissa's voice cracked. This is supposed to be a mediation, not an interrogation. This is a presentation of facts, Richard said quietly. Mr. Keller, do you have more? Yes, these are drawings created by Emma Pierce, age 7. Dated throughout the deployment period, they document Mr. Sullivan's presence in the home, in the marital bedroom. They also document conversations Mr. Sullivan had with Emma, including statements designed to frighten her into silence about his relationship with Mrs. Pierce. James laid out Emma's drawings, one by one, the dates visible, the progression clear. Richard studied them for a long moment. When he looked up, his expression had changed. Professional neutrality replaced by something harder. Mrs. Pierce, did your daughter witness your relationship with Mr. Sullivan? Melissa's hands were shaking. She didn't understand. Did she witness it? Yes, but... And Mr. Sullivan... Richard turned to Derek. Did you tell this child that her father might not return from deployment? Derek's jaw worked. I was being realistic. Soldiers die. Did you tell her that? I might have mentioned yes or no. Yes, but I didn't mean... Richard sat back, removed his glasses, rubbed his eyes. Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, Mr. Sullivan, I've been mediating foreclosure cases for 8 years. I've seen financial hardship. I've seen job loss. I've seen medical emergencies. I've never seen this. He looked at Melissa. Mrs. Pierce, you forged your husband's signature on loan documents while he was serving in a combat zone. You endangered your daughter's financial security to fund your extramarital partner's gambling addiction. You allowed this man, a gesture at Derek, to manipulate and frighten your child. Then to Derek, Mr. Sullivan, you received $285,000 obtained through fraud. You used it to pay gambling debts, and you psychologically manipulated a 7-year-old child. Richard turned to me. Mr. Pierce, I need to pause this mediation. This is no longer a civil matter. This is criminal fraud, potentially federal, given your service member status. I'm required to notify the district attorney's office. Already done, James said. I contacted D.A. Mitchell 3 days ago. She's standing by. As if on cue, the conference room door opened. 2 people walked in, a woman in her 40s carrying a briefcase. Behind her, a police officer. District Attorney Sarah Mitchell, the woman said. Mr. Pierce, Mr. Keller, Mrs. Pierce, Mr. Sullivan. Derek stood up. Wait, what is this? Sit down, Mr. Sullivan. You can't just sit down. Derek sat. D.A. Mitchell opened her briefcase, pulled out 2 documents. Melissa Pierce, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and identity theft under California Penal Code, as well as violations of the Service Member Civil Relief Act. You have the right to remain silent. No. Melissa stood. No, this isn't. Nathan, please. I said nothing, just watched. Derek Sullivan, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and receiving stolen property. You also have outstanding warrants for failure to appear in civil court regarding gambling debts. You have the right to remain silent. Derek bolted, made it 3 steps before the officer had him on the ground, cuffed, face pressed against the carpet. That was stupid, the officer muttered. Melissa was crying, full breakdown. Nathan, please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We can fix this. I'll pay it back. Mrs. Pierce, D.A. Mitchell said, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. I suggest you stop talking. The officer pulled Derek to his feet, read him his rights. Derek's face had gone from arrogant to terrified in the span of 30 seconds. This is insane, he said. I didn't know the signature was forged. Save it for your lawyer, the officer said. They were let out. Melissa looked back once, desperate, pleading. I looked away. When the door closed, the conference room went quiet. Richard was the first to speak. Mr. Pierce, on behalf of First National Bank, I want to apologize. This should never have happened. Patricia has already initiated proceedings to reverse the fraudulent refinance. Your home will be restored to its pre-fraud status. No mortgage, clear title. How long will that take? 60 to 90 days for the paperwork, but the foreclosure is canceled immediately. You're not losing your house. I nodded, didn't trust my voice. James started packing up the evidence. The criminal trial will take longer, 6 months maybe, but with this evidence, they'll both plead out. Melissa's looking at 2 to 4 years. Derek, probably 3 to 5, especially with the warrants. Neither of them will see Emma unsupervised again. Good, I said. Marcus appeared in the doorway. He'd been waiting outside. One look at my face, and he knew. It's done? It's done. He grinned, came in, set his challenge coin on the table next to mine. We don't leave our brothers behind, he said. No, I agreed. We don't. The fallout was immediate and comprehensive. Melissa's mother called that night, not to defend her daughter, to apologize. Mr. Pierce, Nathan, I don't know what to say. I'm so ashamed. That little girl deserves better than what my daughter became. Yes, I said, she does. Can I still see Emma? I know I don't have any right to ask, but she's my granddaughter, and I love her. You can see her. You didn't do this. Melissa did. She cried. Thank you. Thank you. Melissa's father called an hour later. Same message, same shame, same request to stay in Emma's life. I said yes to both of them. Emma needed family, real family, the kind that showed up, the kind that didn't lie. Derek's world collapsed faster. His contractor license, already suspended, was permanently revoked. The casinos and loan sharks he owed money to got wind of his arrest. Within 48 hours, they'd filed liens against everything he owned. His truck, his tools, a rental property in Riverside he'd somehow hidden from Sarah during the divorce. Sarah called me when she heard. "Karma's a beautiful thing," she said. "How's your daughter?" "She's okay. We're okay." "Good. You tell her from me, from someone who knows. It gets better. It takes time, but it gets better." The local news picked up the story 3 days later. Veteran returns from deployment to find wife, refinanced home for boyfriend's gambling debts. It spread online, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter. The details were vague. Emma's name was protected, but the story was out there. The response was overwhelming. Veterans groups reached out, offered support, legal funds, a GoFundMe. Someone started without asking me raise $30,000 in a week. I didn't need the money. The house was being restored. My job was waiting, but the gesture meant something. It meant people cared. It meant the community saw what happened and said, "Not on our watch." It meant Emma would grow up knowing that when bad things happen, good people step up. 6 months later, Emma and I were in our backyard. The house was ours again, free and clear. Patricia had pushed the paperwork through in record time. Clean title, no mortgage. Same as the day my grandfather died and left it to me. Marcus was grilling burgers. His wife Jennifer was setting up a folding table. Their 2 kids were playing with Emma on the swing set my grandfather had built 40 years ago. "You sure about this?" Marcus asked, flipping a burger. "Whole veteran crew descending on your house? It's going to be loud." "I'm sure. Emma needs this. Needs to see what family looks like when it's real." "How's she doing? Really?" "Better. Therapy's helping. She still has nightmares sometimes, but they're getting less frequent. She knows Melissa's not coming back anytime soon. That helped, weirdly. The uncertainty was worse than knowing." "Melissa take the plea deal?" "Yeah, 2.5 years. She'll do 18 months if she behaves. Derek got 4 years. He's already trying to appeal, but his lawyer says it's hopeless. The evidence is too solid." Good. Cars started arriving, veterans I'd served with, their families, people I barely knew but who'd heard the story and wanted to show support. They brought food, drinks, stories, laughter. Emma was shy at first, but then Marcus's daughter, Riley, grabbed her hand and dragged her into a game of tag. And I watched my daughter run and laugh and just be 7 years old. No fear, no secrets, no Uncle Derek, just a kid at a barbecue, surrounded by people who gave a damn. James showed up around 5, brought his wife and a case of expensive beer. "Celebration?" he asked. "Something like that." "House officially yours as of yesterday. I got the final papers this morning." He pulled a folder from his car. "Clear title, your grandfather's name to your name. No Melissa, no Derek, no bank, just you." I took the folder, stared at it. My name on the deed, alone. "Thank you," I said. "You did the hard part. I just filed paperwork." James cracked a beer. "How's custody going?" "Final hearings next month, but my lawyer says it's a formality. Melissa's incarcerated, Derek's incarcerated, and Emma's therapist has filed reports saying unsupervised contact with either of them would be harmful. I'll get full legal and physical custody. Melissa's parents can visit. That's it." "Emma okay with that?" She asked if she had to see Melissa at all. I told her maybe someday, when she's older, if she wants to, but not now, not for a long time. James nodded. "Smart kid." Smarter than me. She figured out what was wrong months before I did. The sun started to set. Golden hour. The yard filled with people who mattered. Emma was on Marcus's shoulders, laughing. Riley and the other kids were catching fireflies in jars. This was family, not perfect, not what I'd planned, but real. After everyone left, after the cleanup and the goodbyes, Emma and I sat on the back porch, just the 2 of us. Her toy soldier sat on the railing. My challenge coin was in my pocket. "Daddy..." "Yeah, sweetheart?" "Today was fun." "Yeah, it was." "Can we do it again?" "Whenever you want." Those people, they're our family now. Not blood family, but the kind that counts. Emma thought about that. Like Uncle Marcus? Exactly like Uncle Marcus. People who show up, people who stay. She leaned against me, small and 7 and safe. Mommy didn't stay, she said quietly. No, she didn't. Do you miss her? Honest question, deserved an honest answer. I miss the person I thought she was, but that person maybe never existed. So no, I don't miss her. I miss the idea of her. Does that make sense? Kind of. We sat in comfortable silence. Fireflies blinked in the yard. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. Emma, I want to give you something. I pulled the challenge coin from my pocket, held it up to catch the porch light. You remember what this is? Your coin from the soldiers. That's right. My unit gave me this. It means we're brothers. It means we don't leave each other behind. Not in combat, not ever. I placed it in her small palm. Her fingers closed around it. I want you to have it. Really? Really. Because you're my family, the one that counts. You stayed when everyone else left. You told the truth when it would have been easier to stay quiet. You're braver than any soldier I ever met. Braver than you. Way braver than me. She held the coin up, examining it. The metal caught the light, the engraving visible. We don't leave. Can I keep it forever? It's yours, forever and ever. What does it mean again? It means we don't leave the people who matter. We protect each other. We stay no matter what. Emma closed her fingers around the coin, held it tight. Mommy and Derek left. Yes, but you didn't. No, and I never will. Promise? Promise. We don't leave, Emma. That's the rule. That's the code. You and me. We're a team. She tucked the coin into her pocket, carefully, like she was storing something precious. Daddy? Yeah? I love you. 3 words, simple, true. I love you too, sweetheart. We sat there as the stars came out, my daughter and me, our house, our life, our family of 2. Melissa had left, Derek had left, but we were still here, still standing, still strong. We don't leave, not ever.